The SBL exam is just like a job interview. You need to prepare fully, and there is a great prize on offer, which is the ACCA qualification. And they're going to be asking you questions to check whether you've got what it takes to get that hallowed qualification, the ACCA. Now, in this session, Andrew and I are going to be giving you advice and tips on how to absolutely maximize your chances of smashing SBL, smashing that job interview-like exam, so that you get your ACCA qualification. Andrew, over to you for our first tip.
Before we get into the first tip, Ben, I've got to wait until the end because Ben is going to reveal the time he cried during a job interview. So make sure you listen out for that. So tip number 1 is prepare fully. When you're going for a job interview, you're going to be doing loads of research. I'm going to be finding out about the company, what their major threats are. I'll be looking on their website. I'll be understanding their products and their services. And that's what you need to do in the SBL exam as well. You need to be prepared. You need to have covered the syllabus. You need to make sure you know those little things. Otherwise, if things come up in the exam that you have got no idea about, you're going to be a bit exposed. You're going to be there going, I haven't really prepared for this. So preparing fully is important. So the action for you here is to make sure you're getting that good coverage and focus on the examinable areas. So in Club SBL, we've covered those theory bits really concisely, covering the really examinable topics just to make sure people are prepared.
Tip 2 is know your interviewer. When I went for my last job interview, it was at KPMG, and the interviewer there was an audit partner. I didn't know who the partner was, but I knew the kind of things they would want. They'd want to see that I was keen for the job, that I was going to work hard, and that I was going to toe the line. I was going to do as I was told. And I could then answer questions in that framework, in that way, to show that I had the things that they wanted. Now, who's going to be your examiner for the SBL, or your interviewer for SBL? It is the examiner. And can we get to know them? Yes, we can, because they produce the examiner's comments after each exam sitting. And in those examiner's comments, they tell you what strong candidates did well, the kind of thing you should do, and what weaker students did badly in the exam, the things you need to avoid. So it allows you to get to know your interviewer, to know the examiner a little bit, so that you can frame your answers accordingly and prepare accordingly. So the action for you is make sure you read the examiner's comments.
Tip 3 is to practice. When I've done job interviews in the past, I've got people to interview me, do mock interviews. Now, that can be family or friends. In the past, I've had my wife ask me questions, and I don't know what those questions are going to be. So she'll fire questions at me, again, just to see how I can think on my feet. Of course, those questions aren't going to be identical to what happens in the actual interview. Sometimes they were. Yeah, there are some fairly standard ones, which you can sort of predict. But other ones, were a bit unpredictable. And that's fine, because it's exactly like with SBL. It isn't necessarily about preparing the answers. It's all about knowing how you're going to react, knowing how to answer them, and making sure that you're answering them properly. So having that practice, really, really important in the SBL exam. And there are loads of ways you can do that. You can use past exams and look at past papers and look at the pre-scenes and then give those a go. Even better, if you can, use some mock exams. And mock exams are great if you can get them on your actual company's pre-scene, because then you can really work through those questions and know exactly how it's going to feel on exam day. So the action for you is to practice, practice, practice. Really, really important in SBL.
Tip 4 is answering the question. Now, in an actual job interview, if they ask you a specific question and you answer something else, the interviewer is going to go, what? What is this person? No, they don't get it. They either don't listen very well or they don't understand. Neither of these things are attractive qualities in a potential recruit. So it's important in a job interview that you answer the question, and in SBL, even more important. They will ask you things that you're not quite expecting. And your job in the exam is to answer that precise requirement. Not the thing that you have pre-prepared. Not the thing that was in your mock that might be a similar question, but is a bit different. What you have to answer is the precise question that they have asked you. Now, we spend loads of time on this in our Club SBL course. It's one of our key, our 6 core skills is making sure you answer the question. We give you lots of tips and techniques to help to make sure that you do that. But the action for you here is when you are in your question practice, make sure that you're focusing on this specific requirement that they ask you, so you're training yourself and you're getting used to that skill.
Tip 5 is to stay calm. Now, in interviews, they often try and trip you up a little bit. They'll try and ask something to throw you off and see how you cope under pressure. In the past, I've done an interview where they've been shining lights on my face to add a bit of pressure. And then they'll ask these strange questions. I've heard people be asked questions like, how many sheets of paper would it take if you stack them one on top of each other to get from here to the moon? That was the interview question. And you're going, I didn't prepare for this. I've not got this in my notes. I don't know what to do. The key is to stay calm and just know, right, no one's going to know that. No one's going to know this. But what they're looking at is your thought process. They're looking at, are you able to stay calm under pressure and give it a good go? And guess what? That's exactly the same in SBL. There may well be a requirement in there that makes you go, oh, I didn't prepare for that. I wasn't sure about this. That's a really niche topic, or that doesn't make much sense. That doesn't really tie in that much with the pre-scene. I wasn't expecting this. Again, you just need to stay calm. Everyone will be feeling the same. Everyone will think, oh, but this is just a test of, can you just go, oh, okay, here's this. I'm going to give it a good go. I'm going to use the exhibits. I'm just going to give it a really good shot and work through it, and that's fine. So the action for you here is just be prepared for that. And make sure that you are calm and you are just rational. You don't just go, right, I'm leaving this requirement. I can't do it. This is impossible. Just go, hang on, let's just take my time, give us a really good shot, and you're going to be fine.
So we're going to finish with my tale of woe when I cried in a job interview.
Oh, yeah.
This actually was part of my practice and preparation for a job interview. For my interview at KPMG, one of my friend's dads used to work at an audit firm and was he's chief exec of a company, a senior guy. And he said he would do me a mock interview the night before my KPMG interview. And I was very grateful. So little did I know what I was in store for. So he asked me all these quite nasty questions. One of them was, how many suitcases are there above London at the minute? Explain your logic to me as you are thinking. So I was saying things about, working out the number of aeroplanes there are and how many people there are on each aeroplane, and each one's got 2 bags and all this kind of stuff. And as I took a breath halfway through, he went, what's 17 times 24? And as I started floundering, he said, you're applying for a job as an accountant and you can't even do basic maths, Wilson. What makes you feel like you are the right person for this job? And yeah, that's when I got a bit upset.
And the key there is, no one's going to know that. There isn't, no one would prepare for that. No one would know that, would they? So the key isn't, you're almost so focused, I've got to get this right. I've got to get this right.
And then, but what happened to me then is I can do 17 times 24, but the problem was I was so thrown by the question.
Yeah.
I didn't do what Andrew advised, which is just to stay calm and take a deep breath. Then answer. I panicked. And I went into doom mode.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to say stay calm, isn't it? And you're absolutely right. Like, the way to do that is just to take a deep breath, and also just knowing that why he's doing that, understanding that a bit and going, oh, okay, he's one of these people.
And I don't know, making light of the situation. Oh, I can see you're trying to throw me here, but 17 times 24 is, and that would then allow me the time to come up with my thoughts rather than panicking as I did. But the good thing for me is that happened in my practice interview, and I did get the job at KPMG. And actually, the audit partner at KPMG who interviewed me was like a lovely teddy bear, cuddly, compared to this evil interviewer that was my friend's dad the night before. And actually, it was a breeze. And there's a really good lesson for you in that. If you're doing mock exams and they feel hard, that's a good thing, because the real exam will feel much more comfortable if you are used to that pressure.
So make sure you join us on Club SBL's YouTube. So we're giving you loads of exam tips like this, and also doing some more technical bits. So looking at some technical articles, and we'll be analysing the pre-scene ahead of your exam as well. So make sure you follow us and subscribe so you get up to date with any new videos we put out there. And of course, if you want to join us on our full courses, they're available at clubsbl.com as well. Thank you for watching.